Imagine you have a powerful server. It runs a massive operating system. Now, walk over the wall and pull the internet cable. What happens? Usually, instant death. Your app stops working, your passwords fail, you can't pay for anything, and the screen goes black. In 2022, the Western world tried to do exactly this to Russia. They didn't just sanction a country, they tried to delete an operating system. They cut the banking cables, they blocked the software updates, they kicked them off the cloud, and it was called the economic nuclear weapon. Everyone predicted the system would crash in months. But fast forward to 2025, the system is still running, factories are humming, malls in Moscow are open. So the question is, did the hack fail? Today in this video, we are not going to talk about politics. We are reviewing Russia, the offline edition. We are going to see how does a country survive without the internet. And we are going to see if it's actually working or is it a zombie server waiting to crash. Let's open the case and find out. Let's go back to 2022. The West hit Russia with over 13,000 sanctions. That is more than Iran, North Korea, and Venezuela combined. Think of it like getting banned from the Apple's ecosystem. Overnight, Russia lost Apple Pay and Google Pay. Swift banking, which is like the internet for money. Swift banking means they were not able to send or receive money internationally. They lost logistics softwares, plane parts, and even Netflix. So the plan was simple: to brick Russia. So in tech world, bricking means your device becomes useless, like as heavy as a brick. Economists said that Russian GDP would crash by 20%. The ruble would become worthless paper. It will just be like monopoly money, because the hardware would freeze. But the West made one crucial mistake, and that mistake was their judgment about Russia. They thought Russia was like an iPhone, useless without the App Store. But Russia is basically a jailbroken Android. So when the connection to the West was cut, Russia didn't try to fix it. They rewired the whole motherboard. All their overseas bank accounts were seized, like Russia's $300 billion just gone. Most countries in this situation would panic, but Russia's central bank did a hard reset. They doubled interest rates to stop people from taking money out. They forced companies to sell their foreign cash and convert their financial assets into ruble. And most importantly, they switched ports. For 30 years, Russia's cable was plugged into Europe, and it was simple. Oil went west and the money came from the west. In just 6 months, they ripped that cable out and plugged it into the east: China, India, Turkey, and the UAE. It is not ideal, it is messy. It's like using a cheap adapter to charge your phone, but it worked. And the proof is, Russia's trade with China exploded to $245 billion. And India went from buying almost nothing to becoming Russia's biggest energy customer. And they stopped using the dollar and started using yuan, rupee, and ruble. It wasn't elegant, but it was survival engineering at its best. But what about the apps? What about the software? But what about iPhones, Coca-Cola, BMW, and Mercedes parts? And this is my favorite part of the review. Russia legalized side loading. So in tech world, side loading means installing an app without the official store, and Russia calls it parallel imports. Basically, the government said piracy is now legal. If you want an iPhone 17 in Moscow, you can buy it right now. And the funny part is, it's not being sold by Apple. A guy in Turkey bought it, sold it to a guy in Kazakhstan who drove it into Russia. Apple doesn't get the data, there's no warranty, the price is probably 2 times higher, and this keeps people calm because as long as the shelves are full, the system feels normal. But here's a catch: you cannot import everything. You need software. When Microsoft and Oracle left, Russia tried to build its own operating system. They literally made copies of everything: a copy of Instagram, a copy of Facebook, a copy of YouTube, even a copy of McDonald's. Now the question is, does it work? Maybe. But is it good? Not really, because this is the problem with closed systems. Without competition, innovation dies. Bugs don't get fixed, features don't improve, and you are stuck with version 1.0 forever. Now let's talk about the performance, because this is the part which confuses everyone. Why is Russia's GDP growing and the unemployment is at a record low? And the answer is overclocking. To all my non-tech viewers, overclocking is when you force a computer to run faster than it was designed to. You pump in extra voltage, performance goes up, but the heat builds up as well. Russia is pumping massive amounts of money into the military. They are paying soldiers huge salaries. Factories are running 24/7 making tanks and bombshells. This looks like growth on paper. GDP goes up, people have cash, but here's the catch. A tank does not create a value. You build it and it gets blown up. The money is burned. And just like a computer, when you overclock a country's resources too hard, it creates a lot of heat. And in economics, that heat is inflation. Prices are rising in Russia. To cool it down, interest rates are at 21%. Imagine trying to buy a house with a 21% mortgage. You just can't. Business stops, innovation stops, only the war machine keeps running. That is what's happening in Russia right now, and that is very concerning. And this is not even the biggest problem with Russia. The biggest problem with this device is the users. Every platform needs users, and Russia is losing them. Since 2022, hundreds of thousands of young men went to the front lines and another million or so left the country. IT guys, engineers, and the smart people who build the future. It's like watching your tech support go away. Factories have the money and they are begging for laborers, but they do not have any humans. So a system without users and admins eventually crashes. So here is my review of Russia, the offline edition final numbers. First, for the build quality, 9 out of 10. This thing is tough. It took a hammer blow and kept working. It proved that sanctions are not a kill switch for this country. Software, 4 out of 10. It's running on pirated apps and old code. It works for now, but it is not getting updates. And that brings us to future proofing. For future proofing, it's 1 out of 10. And this is the scary part. The lights are on, the hard drive is spinning. Russia didn't collapse, but it has become a zombie server. But it is disconnected from the network where the future is being built. No AI innovation, no microchips, no global research, no new tech. If you are not updating, you are obsolete. Because failures can be fixed, but being irrelevant, this is permanent. And this is the reality of the Russian economy. It's not a collapse. It's a slow fade. What do you think? Can a country survive offline forever? Let me know in the comments below. This was Russia's review. I'll catch you in the next one.